welcome back to my channel, Kafka Skewer. Let me talk about Apache Kafka. So we will continue to talk about the optimization on Kafka, what do I want with Kafka, right? So we talk about another things, and today we will talk about the durability. Because durability is very important, right? The main point for the durability is the replication factory. Let's go and elaborate more this. We have some configuration that is important, but not only the replication factory, but it is important to you guys to explain how the things work and how you can optimize your Apache Kafka cluster. Let's try to create a simple scenario here and try to explain to you how some things works. And perhaps now, if you need to decide this goal on your Kafka, the durability, I perhaps can help you with some inputs inside. And if you have some another configuration that you know it's important, please comment it here and you can discuss and talk about. So let's go in in producer side. So here we have some configurations very important for Kafka when your goal or an object for the Kafka cluster is durability. So for the producer, the main point here is replication factor. Why I put the replication factor here, the full replication factor here for the brokers, right? I mean, this is more the topical level here on the broker level. So which means sometimes on your Kafka, you can put, for example, you have the topic 1 and topic 2. So in topic 1, you can put replication factor equal 3, but in topic 2, you can decide to put replication factor equal 2. So you can do different configuration in the topic level. So this is why it's important to decide. Sometimes we decide to put your Kafka or cluster here, right, as the main goal for the cluster here is high availability. But we have inside this cluster some topics that I need durability. And I can do some configuration, extra configuration, and a specific configuration for these topics to make sure the durability, the messages or events I will write on this topic, I can guarantee the things really will write on the Kafka, because the durability, because this message is very important and we cannot lose any message. So here are some configuration. Enable.idempotence, I mean, it's very important, guys. I mean, please take a look on all this configuration, how this thing works. But basically here, we can handle the messages duplicated and ordering. So we will send the message only one time. We can guarantee the message will go one time. But back to replication factor, if you enable a replication factor, remember replication factor, it is the Kafka will produce messages on partition leader. Let's put here, this is partition leader, and Kafka will replicate 3 times this partition between available brokers, right? So we can guarantee that messages is replicated 3 times. And if one broker is going down, for example, for some reason this broker died, I have the replicas between another brokers. I mean, and the partitions we can split partitions between different brokers, not only the 3, right? And another configuration that we can discuss here from the broker level is the broker rack. We can split between the fault tolerance, fault domain. I mean, depends on your which cluster or which cloud provider you work, right? But you can configure the broker rack and you can have a more control between the zones, availability zone that you have in your cloud provider. Or perhaps if you don't have this, you can control this another way. But I mean, from the producer side, it's also very important to enable acknowledge equal all, which means if you have a min.insync replica, the full value is 1, and it's important to increase this to 2 or perhaps equal 3 sometimes. I know if you put equal 3 and this producer will produce messages here on the leader, right? And need to wait the confirmation of the message is committed between 3 brokers, and I mean, until this message is committed to 3 brokers, it cannot continue to commit and send another message. And if it's for some reason 1 broker is going down and you have only 3 brokers, so we cannot continue to produce a message because the durability is the key here. But if you have more here brokers on the cluster level, for example, we have this scenario here with 4 Kafka clusters, and for some reason this broker going down, and the partitions that I produce for this topic 1, the last replica it's living on this broker 3 here. But what we need to wait that things could happen, right? We need to wait Kafka start to move the partitions or the replicas now to here, this new broker. And the thing is in sync, all the things in sync here, so we can continue and produce again, right? So this is how the things work back in the sense on the Kafka. So another configuration, max in-flight request per connections equal 1. So the default is 5. So you can prevent the out of ordering of the messages. So this is important for the producer's level, right? You need to care about. Another thing here is about consumer. So consumer, by default, consumer it's enable out commit is true. So when you build your consumer, you need to care to disable, and you need to create something in your logical of the consumer to do commits. So you can commit asynchronous or synchronous, or sometimes you can use both together, right? Because I mean, let's imagine that you have here another in the same cluster or in the same in the cloud provider. You have the open, or I mean, you have another cluster here like the Kubernetes cluster, and this connection between Kafka and the Kubernetes, or your Kafka live here in the Kubernetes cluster. I mean, this could be a Kubernetes cluster because you use StreamEasy or something like that. And the connection between pods is very quickly and fast. You can guarantee that things work right. So you can start async this connection here, right? And you can create something in your consumer, inside the consumer. If for some reason the thing's going down or you have some problem or issue between the connection, you can go to the synchronous connection. So we can start with a synchronous commit, and if something happens, you can move to, you can create some rules to check this, but we will not discuss about how we can do this. But yeah, perhaps we can create something to help you guys. If you want, please comment down below. Let's continue. So you can isolate level, right? Read committed, as I commented, the way you control your committed. In the broker level, the other important configuration that you need to care about, we discussed, I commented about the full replication. Auto-creation topic you need to disable because you don't want to produce the clients create topics without the configuration. You need more control because you need to care what kind of message you receive. You need to know, you need to talk with your customers or the clients. You need to understand how you can help improve and create the configuration. Unclean leader election, disable because you don't want the unclean leader assume, and now the Kafka decide that someone is not in sync, assume as a leader. The log flush interval message is log flush interval ms for topic with a very low throughput. If you don't have a high throughput in your cluster, you can set this configuration and change the flush that the Kafka will do to control the things, right? Another configuration is important is the internal topic. So to control the configuration on the internal topics is offset topic replication and transactions state locked replication. By default, it's 1 right here. So could be very nice if you can increase this to 2 or perhaps 3, the both configuration, because you need to guarantee all the things in your cluster it's replicate 3 times, and if something happens, you can guarantee that all the cluster its health and work. But depends of how your cluster, you need to check if what is the best strategy for you, right? And I mean, the another configuration very important is new replica features. What this mean? So basically, Kafka replicate between when you enable replication factor. Kafka have a threads inside here the brokers to consume messages here and produce messages in another broker, right? He will replicate between brokers, and the number of and in this parameter here, you will increase the threads that you have in your Kafka, in your broker side to consume the messages, or which means we will replicate more quickly the message between brokers. You can use 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, depends of your scenario. You can increase, but pay attention. Remember, keep in mind, it's very important this will increase the CPU and I/O disk, because you have more threads to go to one Kafka and take out messages and come back, and I mean, you will increase the right of this because they have more threads to do this work to you. Okay. Another configuration is very important here from the streaming level. You need to replication factor config, right? This is transactions that you need to increase to 3, as I mentioned. If you use streamings in your scenario, and the process guarantee you need to change it to exactly once. You don't want it at least once, because it's the full configuration here. So it is important to check your configs in your Kafka, because here the durability is very important to us. Let's imagine that you have a bank account, and you need to guarantee the messages, the transactions is very important to you. But remember, keep in mind this, when you the goal for your Kafka is durability, you don't have a high latency. Or low latency, right? The latency here is not the important fact. Perhaps the end-to-end latency is not the best, because you need the durability. If you do some tests, you can do this kind of tests, right? You can create here one topic, do this test, create one topic, right? One topic, 1 replication factor, 1 topic partitions, 1. Everything is we call 1. You start to produce messages. The Kafka have the perf test, right? Application that you can use, and you can see and compare. You will produce very quickly and fast to this one topic with 1 partition replication factor equal 1. But when you enable just to change the replication factor. Use one partition, but now replication factor equal 3, you can see the difference. Now your Kafka spend more time the throughput in the latency is a little bit high. And the throughput goes down and latency high in this scenario that you don't because Kafka needs to produce the messages in one, and if you have a ack, right, equal all, or in the min.insync replica equal 3, this is a good configuration that you need to care. You see, because Kafka needs to wait, right, all the replicas in sync, so this is don't have a best performance for the use case. Okay, so we talk about a little bit the durability and the strategy to durability, right? And another theme that we could be mentioning here is about the tiered storage, because normally what one of strategy the companies will try to do. So he will put here NVMe, right? Most fast disk that we have in your cluster, SSD or something like that. I don't know what you have, but let's pick this example here, that example here. And you can put in the top here 4 hours, and the rest of the messages we will move to S3, for example, because here in S3 I can maintain, I don't know, for 30 days or more, or infinity retention, I don't know. Because if you have producers produce messages here, and my consumer can consume message at the same, if I produce 100 messages per second, right, on my topic, and my consumer can consume this 100 messages per second, 4 hours is enough, because my consumer can consume all messages in time, and this is enough to me. I don't need to care to think, but perhaps I need to backfill. I need to something could be we can face some issue on time, or in the weekend something can happen, and we need now to go not more NV. I can do the backfill and go and consume message from the S3 because I need more time. So this is a kind of a strategy that you can save some money, right? Because S3 is more, because if you put the NVM with 30 days, yeah, perhaps you will spend a lot of money, and this strategy could be good to you. But we can create, my idea is to create another video about how we can configure this. I have some experience to participate in some projects to do this, to configure the tiered storage for a scenario with the client that have a 10 terabytes, for example, and because they use some kind of configuration on a specific topic that save and don't need, and the client could not delete the messages. You need to save for 1 year the messages. In my opinion, it's not the best strategy to save in Kafka. It could be moved to another place. We have a lot of other applications that can save your storage. They can you save the messages for a long time? But yeah, we do not decide this thing. I just try to help the client to do the best configuration for the Kafka, and how you can configure the tiered storage to save some money and save the data, because they use 10 terabytes. And as far as remember, Amazon have a limit of 16 terabytes for MSK per brokers, right? But yeah, man, if you guys have some another idea or some other configuration, or if you face some issue or problem or something like that, let's discuss. This is really important to me. It's really nice to hear about you guys, what your goals or your objective. If you need another thing that we can try to discuss here in the channel, another video that we can I can provide some another video on other inputs, please comment down below. I will try to create the videos each month. I don't have so much time, but I mean, I will try to to record more than one video per month to you guys, and try to learn more, to try to change the experience, and this is helpful for me and for you. And that's it. So thank you so much. See you. Bye.